Yes, so hello. So I will continue now live streaming this this Sprite editor. And last time we added the levels that we have different. We can draw on different levels here, different parts, and then we can have many levels. And now I want to start moving these things and selecting certain parts of the picture, and then moving certain parts. Like if I add another graph here, like for example here, I want to be able to move this part. So that's what I'm doing now. So let's start doing this. Okay, there's the car. Okay, so I'm gonna add the list box now, so we can select the graph. There are two graphs now, this one and this one. So let's say I want to select this one. So let me do that first. We need the list box maybe for that. So I'm gonna add the list box from here. List box. There. A little bit wider. This can be a little bit smaller. Just I can push that one there. Okay. And I'm gonna name it graph. I call them graphs, so maybe I can name it a little bit slow. I can call it the list box graphs. I call them graphs, so it contains all the graphs, and it should not be sorted. It will not be sorted because I'm gonna put them in my order. I don't want to sort them, so that one needs to be false. And save. Let's start with that one. And needs to have a scroll bar. Scroll bar basically. It needs to have what kind of scroll bar is it? It's a vertical scroll bar. Left scroll bar, horizontal scroll bar, not that horizontal. How did we do that? Oh, vertical scroll. It's already true. Okay, well, I'm gonna just test it quickly now. So I'm gonna add the variable from here, right click, and let's add a nice variable going to the private section. So I'm going to say m list box graphs like that, and then we say finish. Yep. Save all. Let's go and look at it. I'm gonna fill it up with the values just quick. There it is. And okay, I'm gonna fill it up with the values just quick. Just quickly test it. I always want to do it, So add string. Just a quick test that it looks correct. L val1. Then I'll just copy like that. So let's see how it looks. Just quickly testing that we have the scroll bar there. Yeps. yeah, so these are the levels we need to select from here. Okay, so now we need to start adding elements there. Okay, so when we okay, we start from 0. I'm gonna copy that. Start from 0, and then here we are adding one graph here. So when we add in a graph, I need to add it to the list box. So I need to do something like this here. Okay, so okis dokis, and it's gonna be called graph, like the graph. Another index needs to be coming from the list of graphs. So yeah, okay, so this graph needs to return the index, I think so. So I need to change this function such that when I'm adding the graph, it needs to return the index of that graph. And it's quite easy to get it from, it's gonna be int, and it's gonna be add graph image get graphs. Yep, it's gonna be this current index here, simply like that. Actually it's gonna be this one, sorry, it's gonna be this one actually, because sometimes we don't go here, so I need to just play safe and return the last element of the graphs vector, because that's the new index. That's gonna be the index. Okay, I'm returning the index. Okay, I'm returning the index, I guess. Is that the best way to do it? Index or size? That's a good question. Maybe the index of that element. Okay, returns the index of the added graph. The index in the vector of the graph. Okay, so now on this side I need to capture that index like that, and then graph index, and then here I need to, I need to create the string for the list box. String list box text. Okay, and then we're gonna create the text. So it's a format, and I'm gonna say here that the graph space and a d like integer, which doesn't make any sense. D like integer. D like integer. Okay, so then we're gonna say hello Microsoft. Hello Microsoft. Why is this D? Why is it not I like integer? Hello Microsoft. Anyway, so here I need to put that guy, that index over there, and now I need to send this guy to the list box, this string like that. But now they're very important. We need to set the ID for that list box element. So later on we know which index it is, because we don't want to keep checking this string. We want to have an index ID for that element. So I already done that. So I'm just gonna steal my idea from here. I did actually a YouTube video about this, so it's gonna be done like this. So I need to set the item data. So it's gonna be what is it taking? Index. Yeah, so the index will be, just a second, how did I do it here? The index will be, yeah, like that. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do the same logic here. So add string, I'm gonna capture the the list box index. When I'm adding the list box element, it returns the index of the new element in the list, 0 based. So I can pass that there, and then the ID will be this one. This one. The ID will be the graphic index. It's a different thing. So this is the graphs index. Graph index. So we need to know that which graph index this text belongs to. So later on we can refer to it. Okay, so that's there. That's it. Okay. And now the interesting thing is now that when I'm clicking that list box, let's say that I throw 3 elements and I click the middle one, it should highlight the middle graph. This is going to be interesting. It's quite easy to do now because we have now all the functionalities here. It's quite easy to now implement. So so we need to check the list box click. Okay, when the list box is clicked, we need to react. We need to select that graph. So I'm gonna go now, and there's no point to run it yet because we don't see any difference. We are saving it, yes. Actually, let me run it just quick. Yeah, there is actually because we are adding it in the list box. So let's see it works. So I'm drawing. Let me draw 3 graphs. Okay, 1 graph. Yeah, you see it pushed that there already, this one. Then I add another one. Okay, there it is, this one. So now I'm drawing the second one, and it's selected. You can see it's selected. It has the selection rectangle there. This one doesn't have. One more. You see. So now this is selected, and there are 2 other graphs. So now I'm gonna do that. If I select this one, it will select this middle object. Okay. And if I click this one, it will select this object. Okay. So let's start. This is getting quite interesting now. This is getting quite interesting now because we have the functionality to do many things now. And soon we start moving stuff. We start moving one of the elements, and we select the element which we want to move, and then I drag it with the mouse. That's going to be quite interesting. We almost have all the elements to do that already. It's going to be quite easy to do now. So okay, so I need to now select when we click the. So how to do that? So when we click the element in the list box, how do we get an event handler for that guy? Well, in MFC Visual Studio, I think if I forget things, but I think it's going. We go to the project. I think it's class wizard. We need to remember the ID of that list box first of all. I think so. Okay. And now here. Yeah, there is the list. There is the list. Okay. So you need to select that list, a list box ID, whatever ID the list box had. You select that one, and then here you select which event you want to trigger, which handler you want. So we need to select the right view. So it's gonna be this editor view where we want to have that and I want to have a click selection change. Wait a second. What do we want? We don't want double click. Kill focus, cell cancel, set focus, item. What is that? The me theme theme changed. I think it's this cell changed. I think that's the one we're looking for. Selection changed. Okay, let's try that. So add handler, going to that class, add handler. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, and now we press OK, and there it is. Voila! So here, when we click the list box, we need to select that item. That should not be super difficult anymore. So we need to say no. We need to do the opposite now. Set item data. Now we need to say get item data. Yeah, I'm gonna be lazy, and I'm gonna go to this old program. I'm gonna copy that thing from here. I've done it already, so it's gonna be get item data. So get item. Okie dokie. Get item data. This one takes reference. No, not reference. Index. Get item data. Yes. Aha. Okay. Get current. Yeah, this is the logic. Get current selection. Yeah, this is the logic we need to do. Yeah. So I'm gonna just copy all of that and just place it there. Okay. So we just need to change the it's at this. Maybe I can leave that. Yeah, let me leave that comment there. That's okay. Get. We don't need all this explanation here at this moment. Okay. What am I doing? This is some old code. Yeah, I don't need this. Okay, so we go like this. So this is gonna be selected graph, selected how do I call this? Selected graph. Okay, selected graph listbox index. Listbox index. Long name. Okay, selected graph listbox index. Okay, and then we're gonna say that we need to pass that thing there. We need to get the item data from that listbox element, and we don't need to do static cast here. So now we need to just use that. So this is gonna be now the ID of that, because we stored the graph index ID there. So now we're gonna get that ID the other way around. So now we're gonna do the other way around here. Graph index is gonna be the return value of that get item data from the list box. And yep. And now we simply just need to set the current. Wait a second, just 1 second, please. Yes, so this is the index. Yeah, so this is the index in the graph. That's the vector index. This is the vector index in the graph vector. So it's very simple. We just need to now change the that which one is selected, and do I have that function here already? Okay, So now I need to go to the grid window, and see what kind of function we. Okay, there is the set state. No, it's not that one. Yeah. So we need to say here that set current what is it? Set current graph index. Set current graph index. So it's the current graph which we are dealing with. So we're gonna pass that index by int, and we're gonna assign it to that one. So this is the variable in this grid window. Current graph index. It's the vector index value, and so we need to pass that there. Okay. Actually, to be honest with you, okay, so I'm dealing with the vector index now here. Actually, it would be safer to use. It would be safer to somehow use ID related to that, not the vector index, but the ID of that element. So each element should have an ID, because vector index can be dangerous, because if we are deleting elements from the middle, then the index will be wrong. So storing vector index is kind of dangerous. Maybe I need to change that logic right now, because it's safer to have an ID which we are talking about, not the index of the vector. Let me think. Anyway, I'm gonna do the first version using the index. It's just fun to see that it's kind of working. So okay, so let's see if this, because it's already kind of done. So I'm just gonna now test this version first and see it's changing. Okay, so there I'm drawing that. Yep. Oh yeah, it should work. It should kind of work. And then I need to say, what do I need to say next? I need to say set. I think I'm gonna do the update here. Update window. Which is by default true. So I'm gonna update the window straight away. So update window invalidate and update window. Yeah, so we're gonna draw it straight away. Okay, and let's go back now here. Yep, and now I need to say here that that the grid set current graph index, and I need to pass that from the list box. From the list box I'm passing that index to the grid, and then the grid will draw. It actually might work already, so let's run it now. So but maybe I really need to use that ID instead of index, so that's something to think about now. Let me first see if this works. So add graph, okay, 0, draw a ball, and then I'm gonna, it's selected. Second one, I'm gonna draw a triangle here. Okay, you see that it's selected now, so there's a rectangle. One more, add one more graph. Let me draw a moon. So the moon is selected now, so there's number 3. So I select now the number 1. Yes, it works. It selected this guy. Now if I press this one, now it selected this one, isn't it? And if I do this one, it's selected. It doesn't show very well, but you can see that there is a selection rectangle here on each of the pixel. So it works. Yeah. So it selects that item when I'm clicking the it keeps changing. Yes. Yeah, okay, I need to release the mouse. Aha, like that, okay. So, yeah, it's okay, it's good. So, that works. So we can select which of the graphs we want to modify or operate with from here. Okay, so the next thing, I really would like to identify each of the elements by IDs, not index, not vector index. I think I should really change it right now, so it's gonna be maybe easier to continue. So let's go to the grid. Let's go to the grid, and so I'm gonna look at this index now. That how does this work? What do I need to change here to make it better? So it needs to be an ID, current index. I'm just thinking, does this grid needs to keep record of the current graph index or current graph ID? That's a good question. Maybe it can keep the index actually. It's a different logic here, so let's go here and look at how I'm using it. So if index is greater than set current graph pixel with current bent. So this is drawing. If current is greater than 0, add bar. Yeah, so here I'm using the current. With the current index we are referring to the graph with the current graph index. And here again we are using the index to get access to the vector. And okay, so we are only using it in a couple of places at the moment. Right. Let me think. Is it better to keep using the IDEX ID or the index? On the grid side, we might use the index maybe, because we always know the index and it's quite easy to update the index on this side. Let me think. If I delete an element here, are we gonna get troubles? Okay. But in any case, each of the graphs we are having, I think they need to have an ID. That's for sure. I'm pretty sure about that. So that in mind, I think I need to create the ID here. They need to be identified by an ID. So let's create an ID here. Static int static next ID. Actually, I've done this before, so I'm gonna just create private static int get next unique ID. Okay, so we have this static function here which is creating the IDs, unique IDs. So I'm gonna something like that, and if we start from 0 and next ID. Okay, and now I'm gonna return. It might be simple as that. So return the next ID and okay, plus plus here. So that might return. Yeah, that's always returning. Let me start from 1. The IDs normally start from 1. I start from 1. So we're returning the 1, and then next time it will return 2. It's a static function, so so all the objects can ask the ID. Okay. And yeah, and now when we are creating an object, we need and now we need to have the ID here int for the object. So just ID. Okay. And here when we are creating an object, we need to initialize the object with the next ID. We need to ask the next ID here and put it there like that. Okay. So now it has an ID, and now we need the hello there. Yeah, we are creating in the process of creating an editor. Does it compile at the moment? It surely does. Let me just compile it now. Well, at the moment, probably it will be. Yeah, it will be. Not at the moment, because at the moment I'm focusing of creating the logic. But yes, I probably will. Yeah, it probably will be in the coming future. It will be document. Yeah, I will be pushing that grid. So the grid data probably goes to the document. Yes. So yeah. So here I'm running. So this grid here. So I'm adding a graph. Yeah, that grid needs to go to the document at some point. I'm not doing it yet. I don't want to waste time doing it right now because it's easy to move it soon. I'm first gonna do the basic functionality here, and then when it kind of all works, then I'm gonna push it to the document probably. Yes. And you have the you have the next grid here, right? This is pretty cool. MFC is pretty good here actually. People say MFC is not good, but I say MFC is good. Okay, let's argue about that. Just look at this. You get all of this. It's all good. So okay, so let me close this now. Okay, so I'm gonna now continue. So I need this ID system here. So I need to have a function here which is called int. Yeah, it's MDI. Yes, because I want to be able to create many. I want to be able to create many sprites at the same time. I want to be able to have, for example, 4 different sprites. Because I want to maybe I want to copy, from one sprite. I want to copy and paste, isn't it? I want to do the copy paste, maybe. You know what I mean? I want to be able to, cooperate with other sprites. Yeah, each one has their own document, so each sprite is stored in the document, isn't it? In their own document. So get ID. Okay. So I'm gonna say return ID. That's gonna be const guy. Okay, so now the graph has an ID, and we want to use that ID now next. So okay. So how do we use that? That's the next question. So the answer to that question will be, just a second. The answer will be, I go back to the grid window, and let me think about that now. That's the current graph index. Yeah, no, so now the set current graph. Yeah, so actually, so this needs to be changed now. Okay, when we are adding a graph, the caller needs to get the ID, not the index. I need to change this straight away. Okay, so I'm not going to return the vector index. I need to return the added graph ID. Okay, let me say back, and then I need to say get ID. Okay, so I need to return the, I need to store the ID of that new graph instead of returns the ID of the added graph. Okay, yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Okay, so I'm returning the ID of that graph. Okay, so now I need to go back. I need to go and change. So here I'm asking the ID. So I need to change this. It's not index. It's graph ID. I need to keep holding the ID. And yep, and I need to pass the ID. And also here I need to change it a little bit. Yeah, this needs to be ID. Okay, so that needs to be ID, and then I need to, yeah, it's gonna show the ID of the, and then I need to store it in a list box, this ID. Okay, and now one more thing. I go back to the grid. So when you set current graphic, okay, so now I need to really think about this. This grid, is it gonna use the current graph index or current graph ID? That's the question. When we are operating here, where the index is easy, the problem with the ID is that you all the time you need to keep asking that, okay, what is the ID for this index, and what is the ID for this index? What is the ID for this index? So it would be easier to store the index. No, I don't like those. I don't like the MFC containers. I'm using the standard library containers almost always. I think the standard library containers are better. I only use MFC containers if I have to, or if it's kind of needed in that situation, but I try to avoid that. Okay, so MFC is a little bit outdated. Let's remember that also. MFC is a little bit outdated. Let's be honest. It's pretty good, but it's not using the latest C++ always. So it's a little bit outdated, I would say. Okay, so let me think about this now. Just a second. I'll think about, do I need to store the current index or the current ID? That's the question. And the answer will be, we'll look at this. So there is the current index. That's a good question. Should I store the current index or the current ID on the grid? It's difficult to know at the moment because I just started creating this. It's difficult to know this kind of thing right now because I'm not sure how we're gonna use this. So maybe I can just leave this index maybe for now. And if I change my mind that it needs to be ID, what we are dealing with here, we can change it quite easily. If I delete one of the graphs from the middle, then we just need to update this index correspondingly. Okay, I'm gonna use the index. Index is a little bit dangerous. As I said, ID is the safe way to do things, but I think we are quite safe here. So I'm gonna use the index for now, and just keep in mind that I might need to change to index later. Sorry, ID later. Okay, set current graph index. I need to change this name. Select something like select index. Set current graph. Maybe set current graph. Set current graph or select current graph. How do you say it? Change. set current graph, select current graph, select graph. Maybe how about select graph? Yeah, select graph, isn't it? Select graph, okay. And this will be graph ID. Okay, this will be graph ID, and now we need to find that. Now we need to find that that a graph index by the ID. Okay, so I think now because there are many guys probably which have okay, the grid might have an ID, the graph might have an ID, and the image might have an ID. There might be many classes might have IDs. Should I create a global function for that? I'm just thinking. Let me think. I don't worry. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I can do that later and make it better. I'll make a quick version now. So I'm just gonna create here. Where is it? Image. So the image contains image is a collection of graphs. No, so okay. So I need to create here a function that we will find a certain yeah map. Yeah, you could do map, but you know that if you have only few elements, actually array is the way to go. You know that if you have 100 only 100 elements, or let's say only 20 elements, actually vector is faster than map. Did you know that? Yeah, you could do map, but actually vector is actually faster, to be honest. It's not about the speed actually here. So actually it's about practicality here. That's true. But map is a little bit more difficult to use actually for me. To be honest with you, I can do faster the vector. I'm gonna do the the find thing here. So how do I do this? Just a second. How do I do it? Get graph. It's just get graph and by ID. I want to be very specific. I know many people would just say get graph and then pass the ID, but because there might be a get graph by index later on, isn't it? So I'm just specific here. Get graph by ID. Okay. So and then we're gonna push that ID there, int ID. Okay. And I'm just gonna say return. I'm gonna say yeah, it's gonna be map or the find. I need to think about that, but I'm gonna just do this time. I'm gonna do the find here this time. So std find and we're gonna. Is it possible to do even the find? Let me look at this. Can I get the graphs? Oh yeah. We have a vector. We have a vector here. Yeah. So I need to do find if here. Actually, because we need to look at that thing. So it's gonna begin. Then it's gonna be graph end, and then we're gonna say do the lambda here. So lambda okay, and then I'm gonna say so here we're gonna put so that's gonna be const auto and graph, and then I'm gonna say here that return and what are we doing? I need to pass that ID there. So we're looking for the graph, and we're asking to get ID now. Okay, so get ID, and we are checking that is the ID, that ID. Okay, so like that, and then we found it. We are looking for the certain graph by the ID. So yep, and this would be const. Let me first put it without the const. Maybe I made a mistake here. So okay, so yep. Okay, and why do I need this function? Because what was I doing before this? Okay, was it select graph? Yeah, because when we are selecting the graph, I need to get the index by the ID. Okay, so I need to call that here. So image and get graph by ID. Okay. Oh, what am I doing here? This is an interesting question. I still don't know how to do this. Yeah, I can return the index of the found object. I could also return a pointer to the found object. That's an interesting question. We can do it so many ways. At the moment, I'm using the index of the current graph. If I do like this, it says get graph by ID. So that will be it kind of wants to return a pointer to the graph. Or I could also return the index to the graph. So which one I'm gonna do? Which one I'm gonna do? I need to think about this another day, but I'm gonna use this index for now because I have that logic here. So I'm not gonna too much think about this at the moment. I'm gonna change it if there's a better way. Okay, I'm just gonna return the index at this point. Index. Okay. And so find if it would be easiest to have the pointer actually, but I don't like pointers. On the other hand, I need to think about this, but well, if I do it like this, I need to return the auto found graph. So this is the found graph, and return. Then we need to return. So if the found graph is equal to if the found graph is equal to end, that means that we did not find it. So if we did not find it, then I'm gonna return, well, at the moment I'm just gonna return -1. Otherwise I'm gonna return the index, which will be std distance, okay, distance between first and last. Okay, so the first will be begin, and the last will be this one. Okay, so this will be the index of that element we just found. Okay, and now so okay, so let's just go like this for now, and I don't need this one. Okay, this is the first version, maybe we need to change that, but okay, so the current index will be yep, get graph index, yeah, like this, get graph index by ID. Okay, like that, and then I'm gonna call it here, and then I'm gonna save it or store it, should I say. I'm gonna store it here, the current index. Okay, and now it might be -1, which would be an error, but I'm not gonna check the errors right now, I guess. I'm just gonna do the error checking later. Okay, so am I already calling this? Let's go back here. I'm already, yeah, where is it? Set current graph by it's select graph. It's called select graph now. So yep, okay. Select graph by ID. Yeah, let me put by ID. I like the functions to be exact. So select graph by ID. Okay. Okay, so let's test one more time. Is it still working? I changed the logic now. It's using the IDs now. So let me check if it still works. If it doesn't, it's quite easy to debug it. Okay, so what is it complaining now? X not found. So there's a Visual Studio issue here. Ah, succeeded. Okay, so okay, and is it still working? Add second one. Yep, it's still one more. Okay, and now I will select the, yeah, still works. Yeah, good. So it's able to select the right one. Yeah, good. Okay, and now we have IDs. We have a pretty good system. So now next, I have a list here what to do. Draw highlight, that's done. Yeah, moving graphs. Yeah, the moving the graph. Yeah, that's quite in a way easy to do. So what if I try to move them next? Yeah, let's try to do that. So okay. Need to think a little bit now. So I'm trying to now move the selected graph with the mouse. So the mouse capture is already working here. Okay. Okay. So I need to think now. So mouse tracking on. Set capture. Release capture. This is all good. And yeah. So now here we need to look at the state now here. Okay, so we have a state. So we have a drawing state, moving state, and selecting state. So let's try the moving state. So I think I already implemented the change of the states. Yeah, okay, let me put the debug point here that, oh, sorry. I think I already implemented, yeah, set state. I think this is already working. I'm just gonna double check when I'm changing the state, it should come to this function and change the state. So let me press that moving. Yeah, you see, yeah, it works. Okay, so it works. So okay, so now when I press the mouse L button down, I need to check that what state we have, okay? And here, if it's a drawing state, we need to do this one, right? So I'm gonna do a switch. Oh, it's not good. It's not good idea to do things on L button down, by the way. It's better. It's best. The best thing to do is that create a new function for that. Okay. So we go to the private section and let's start creating the action functions. Okay. So void what is that gonna be called? What kind of function that should be? How do you call that function? L button down is mouse tracking on. Okay. Maybe I will call it start mouse tracking. It's kind of strange name, but start mouse tracking. Okay, start mouse tracking. Okay, and we're gonna pass the point. The point where we start the tracking. Start point. Okay. So we're gonna have a new function like this, and all the functionalities is gonna be put here. So I'm gonna check all this code from here to here. Okay, and from here we are simply calling that function. It looks like, why did you do this? But well, there's a reason. You don't want to put stuff in a message handlers. That's the idea normally. So I'm just gonna do like that. That's gonna be the start point. Okay, small change. And now here we need to, so we always do these things. We always capture the mouse. We always set the capture true. We capture the mouse. But here, depending on what state we have, we're gonna do different things. Okay, so depending on the state, we're gonna divert case break. So if different states here, we have 3 states at the moment. So okay, so the first one, we need to check the state, and this is the state. So if the state is switch states. Okay, and if the state is if we are drawing, we do this one. Else, if we are moving, we do this one. And else, if we are selecting, we go here. So this one here is for the drawing. We are drawing the pixels, and now we're doing the moving. Okay, we are doing the moving. Okay, so let's do the moving section. So I need to create a new function, I guess, which will be called, of course, will of course be called how would you call that? Move graph, I guess. I just call it move because I don't know what we're gonna move. We might be moving everything, right? We might be moving one of the graphs, we might be moving two of the graphs, or we might be moving everything, you know, so we haven't decided how we're gonna implement it yet. So I'm just gonna call it move something. Grid. Yeah, okay, I'll just call it move for now. We're gonna move something, and so what we are moving we will decide later on. Move something. At the moment we are only moving the graph, so I'm just gonna hard code it now first. Okie dokie. Now I can call this function here, and I definitely need to pass that point set current picture mouse move. Where's the mouse move? There's the mouse move. Okay. Control plus. Where is the keyboard? To auto declare the function in the. Oh, you mean? Aha, yeah. I'm not familiar with that. Oh, how does that work? Okay, let me try that. Wait a second. How did you do that? So let me try here. Okay, so void. Oh, so you mean that I say foo here? So where do I need to put the cursor? Here. Control plus, you mean? No, nothing happens. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but you can do it. No, but nothing happened. Control plus, nothing happens. Oh, you mean from here? Oh, sorry, you mean from here? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, control point. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not familiar with it. Create definition for the copies. Create definition for. Okay, let me try that. Okay, and what happens now? Oh, it already created that. Did it? Yeah, it did. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. That. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's better to use that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start using that. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because it's just a waste of time to always. Anyway, so here is the move, and where is the mouse move? There's the mouse move. Okay, let me think now. Move. Start. I don't think I need to do anything when it's L button down with moving. I don't need to do anything. We only need to move when the mouse is moving, right? So I'm gonna call this oh, okay, right button. Oh, okay, right, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. So I think I need to call this move from mouse move. So I need to create I'm gonna create a new function just quick here. So okay, I'm gonna use your method now. Okay, so let's try that. So void how do I call that? Just a second. How do I call that? Mouse move. Or is that the move? Or maybe it can, I can call it just the move. Okay, let me try that. Maybe I just use this function. Okay, so move. We will see soon, but I'm gonna use that move now to start with. So I'm just gonna put that point there, and okay, and then I'm gonna take that from there and put it here. Okay, so let's put it here. So why is it come? Yeah. So yep, yeah. So this one from here needs to go here. Yeah. Okay. So I need to call that move from here, and I need to pass that point there. Yeah, like that. If mouse is tracking, set current. Yeah. So if I'm drawing, I need to do this one. So I need to do the switch case here again. Okay. So I'm going to do switch case. Okay. So and this thing from here needs to go there. Okay. If mouse is tracking. Okay. Okay. At the moment, I'm just gonna do this kind of version. If the mouse is tracking, then I'm gonna check these cases like this. Okay, so if the mouse is tracking, I'm gonna do all of those. Okay, so if the mouse is tracking, I'm gonna check the state and go from there. Let me see now. That's the drawing, and now I need to do the moving. Okay, so here's the moving. Aha. Okay, that's an interesting question. Mouse moved. Mouse move. What do I need to do here? Move. Mouse move. The state is for because sometimes I'm drawing the grid. I'm drawing in the grid window. Sometimes I'm moving objects. Sometimes I'm selecting objects. So there are 3 different states. So this window needs to know that which state is what are we doing. Yeah, so I have those. Yeah, so I have those. Yeah. Well, I will show soon. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna call this mouse move. Actually, mouse move. Let me call it mouse move. Gosh, my brain is not working. Mouse move. And just a second. I'm gonna call this now move current graph to start with. Okay, we can later on change this. So I'm gonna yep, and let me try now that the automatic thing. So I need to create here move current graph, and there's the point. That's the new point. So let me now create that. So this point. Okay. How do I get here? What did you say? Click here. How do I get to that function? You said that. Click this one. On the left here. Of the X. Where is the X? Oh, you mean? Oh, right. You mean this X here? That's close. On the right, there is an orange. You mean this one? On the right. On the left. Oh, left. You mean this one? Here. I click this name, this file name. Oh, okay. No. This, you mean this promote, this one? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that. Yeah. Okay, so here, let's just go do this. So move to the graph. I need to pass that point there. What am I doing? Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I need to go here, and then I need to pass that point there. Moving. We are moving. Okay, like that. Okay, we're moving. Okay, and now, yeah, that's all good. Okay, so and now here we need to do the moving. So finally, we are moving. Okay, so now I need to move that grid. And how do we do that? That's the big question. So let me now do that. So obviously it's gonna be something from the image. It's an image. We are moving the image at the end of the day, so it's gonna start from image definitely. So I need to say image, and I'm gonna actually look at how I did it before here. I did that before, so how do I do that? Yeah, here is it, current image. So how do you move since the point is const? No, I'm just gonna copy. No, I'm just gonna copy the values. No, I'm just gonna copy it. I'm not gonna change the point. I'm gonna just ask what is the point. I'm not gonna, yeah, image. Okay, I need to do something like this. Okay, something like this here. So okay, so if the current image index is greater than 0, then I'm gonna take the current graph. Obviously I'm not gonna add anything. And what am I gonna do now? That's the big question here. Okay, I think what we need to do here is that we need to create a new function, right? We need to create in a graph. We need to create a new function now, which is able to move that thing. So where does that belong to? Let's go to the graph. There's the graph. Whose responsibility is to move himself? Okay, there's the graph, and there's the image. Yeah, I think I know. Yeah, the graph needs to be able to move himself, something like that. I mean, the graph is, so this needs to be moving, this graph needs to move himself. Right. There's an image, and one of those moments that need to think a little bit, because I'm building this library, so many things are new, so it's a little bit question mark sometimes how things are done. It's not that obvious always. So get graph at get parts, get graph. Just checking how am I using this currently. Add part, get graphs, set, take some drink. Okay, so now go back to the graph. Found cell, and that, okay, there's a cell. Okay, so I'm passing cells. You can see I'm passing a cell, and cell is XY. Okay, cell is row and column. Okay, cell is row and column. So you can see that I'm passing row and column. into the graph. So I think this T is row and column. It's a row and column, probably. It's a row and column. Yeah. So this is a vector of rows and columns, row and columns objects. So so this part, one of the parts is row and column. That's how it is. Plus the value. Okay, so it's row and column plus the value. So sorry, it's the coordinate plus the value in the cell. It's the combination of. So one part is coordinate and the value in the cell. Okay, so okay. So whose responsibility is to move? Whose responsibility is to move that cell? That's an interesting question, because the graph at the moment, the graph doesn't know anything about the coordinates. It's only T. So the graph doesn't know about the coordinates. And I think it's good to stay like that. I don't think it's a good idea that the graph knows about coordinates. That's for sure. So the graph should not be dealing with the coordinates itself. Okay. I think so. So then we go to the grid. So whose responsibility is to move that graph? There's the grid. Okay, just a second. So we have the static card, we have the image. And if we go to the image, yeah, but at the moment it is quite simple, because everything here basically is data here at the moment. All this image is data, grid is data. Well, is the grid all data? I think grid is also, it's all about data at the moment. There's no drawing here. Yeah. Okay, so let me think. So the image is I need to focus now. Sorry. It's I'm dividing it. So there's a grid. Okay, there's a grid here, and then there is an image, and then you're gonna draw the grid, the image in the grid. I think that's how it works. Yeah, let me double check that. So let me double check that logic. Yes, yeah, that's how I'm doing it. So there's the grid, and then there's the image, and I'm drawing that image in the grid. Yeah, that's how it works. This is one of those things that this is quite complicated, so it needs a documentation at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I think the structure is, I like this structure myself. I mean, the structure I think is pretty good, but it's a little bit complicated and it needs a documentation. I don't need it right now because I remember pretty much, but this would be crazy to have this kind of system without the documentation, because it takes, I mean, losing hairs trying to figure out these things. Okay, anyway, so okay, so there is the yeah, so there's the grid. I can check the grid. There's the grid, rows, columns, set. We are setting the value. Aha, okay. So it's quite obvious that the grid knows the cells, the columns. Yeah, you see. The grid knows columns and rows. Okay. The grid knows them, so maybe it's the grid's responsibility to start doing those kind of things, because the grid knows rows, and you see there's a rows and columns, isn't it? And then there's the index. So the grid knows about rows and columns. Yeah. Image and these guys, they don't know about it. Okay, so let me think. Yeah, of course. Look at that. There's already set position here, and there's a get position. Oh, sorry. This is the grid position. Sorry, I'm confused myself. No, this is the grid position. Sorry. Forget. Okay, anyway. Okay, so how do I do this? This is one of those things that I might better just close the stream and, you know, sit on a couch and think about it, and then in 15 minutes I get the idea and come back and it's very clear, isn't it? Yeah. How much I did already? I think I did quite a lot here. Let me run it now. Yeah, so we have the ID system, and I added the list box. Yeah, I'll run it one more time. So we have IDs. So each of the graph is now identified. First one, second one, and third one. Okay, so and we can change the graph. We can change the section of the graph. And I added the ID. I think this is quite long video now already also. And the other thing is that, let me think. I think about it alone without streaming. I get it quite quickly then, because if I'm talking and, you know, I can't concentrate so easily. So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna go close the stream and I'm gonna think about it, and then I have very clear picture how it should be done. Okay. Oh yeah, so I'll continue another time. Who knows? Maybe even later today. Maybe even later if I get excited. Who knows? I'll end this stream now here now. So okay, thank you. Are you still there? Okay, thank you. See you next time. Everybody. See you next time. I'll find the solution for this, and then we will continue. And I'm actually gonna explain the solution at the beginning of the next video. Next stream, I mean. Okay, thank you very much.